more to confess, less left to keep. And there's no rest in a drunken sleep. You see, you got to predict, to not react. Some moves you make or you can't take back. I would often lie, cheat and steal, or the things you try when you're without a need. All romance died, lay down with its appeal. The inner beast loves poison like your devil loves a deal, and your devil loves a deal. So put my wrongs to rest. No, I'm never gonna make them right, I guess. I faced the trick, I tricked the chase, I contradict of trolling the race. A belief can disappear, respect can be merely fear. Some get religion, some slowly slip into faith. Some get drunk, others they will away. Some will settle down into the family they made. Some will rise, realize what's at stake. Some say goodbye to the road they take. Some of us will die never knowing what it takes. So put my wrongs to rest. No, I'm never gonna make them right, I guess.
This is Joshy P from Moonrunners Music Festival in Chicago. Just wanted to let you guys know that we will be doing another online music festival February 12th through 14th at the Moonrunners Music Festival YouTube channel. We got a great lineup over 3 days, including Mikey Classic and Jake Orvis of the Goddamn Gallows. We got Jesse Wagner, lead singer of the Agrolites, doing a set. We got Wormfoot, which features Uriah from the Goddamn Gallows, and we got Fish Cuts and the Stinking Orchestra. We got Run Rabbit Run, Johnny Terror. We got a whole bunch of bands. Last False Hope, local news legend. The list goes on and on. So come join us February 12th through 14th at the YouTube channel for Moonrunners Music Festival. See you guys there.
Hey folks, this is Dogbite Harris from Ruckus and the Records. I'm here to tell you about a contest we are doing live via the Ruckus and the Records YouTube channel on Saturday, March 20th, called Ruckus in the 80s. Ruckus in the 80s is a virtual show much like Battle of the Bands. Bands or solo artists will enter 2 of the best 80s cover songs they can come up with for a chance to win a cash prize and 100 drink koozies with their logos printed on them. How the cash prize is determined is each act that enters will be required to pay a $5 entry fee. We at Ruckus will match that to double that money. As of now, the pot is up to $200 and growing daily. The winner will be decided by the votes of the viewers via an online voters poll. If you or someone you know is interested in entering or sponsorship opportunities, hit up any of the Ruckus and the Records social media pages or send an email to Ruckus and the Records, all lowercase letters, at yahoo.com for more details. We hope to see you guys in the chat room on March 20th at the Ruckus and the Records YouTube page. Alrighty, folks, with me on the Zoom here, I've got Dylan Walshe. Man, Dave King from Flogging Molly said is if the future of songwriting, or what he said, the future of songwriting is safe in your hands, is what he said.
Well, you'll have to take his word for it.
That was a quote I read. That's pretty cool, man. You did some touring with those guys back in the day, didn't you?
Yeah, well, what happened was I was down at an Irish bar here in Nashville. I think it was I might get the years a bit skewed. I get a bit mixed up sometimes, but I think it was 2016.
Yeah.
There was a Conor McGregor fight on, and Flogging Molly were like the pub guests. They weren't performing, but they were just there in person, you know. And I was wearing a T-shirt of a mutual friend, a musician back at home. His name was the Mighty Steph, and they saw the T-shirt and they called me over. I didn't really know who they were at the time. Kristen knew who they were, and I had a chat with them and explained to him that I just moved over, and he asked me to send him a CD and my contact details, and that led to going on to the Flogging Molly cruise. And then from the Flogging Molly cruise, he brought me on tour then in 2017.
Right on, man. That's cool. That's a great story. What a nice guy to do that too, man.
He is. He's super nice. And I know a lot of people say that about people who give them opportunities and stuff, but you'll find the same thing said about him across the board, you know?
Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things. I think Gary Lindsay knows him too and has said some kind words about him. I've always been a fan of theirs since I was younger, you know. It's kind of cool to see it, you know, see him helping out people I know now, given the fact I was like a fan of his in high school, you know.
Yeah, I mean, he gets it, you know. He's been through it. I mean, his first experience of being over here, as far as I'm aware, he had no visa and stuff, so he got trapped here for years, you know. So he would have had the homesick feeling and all that. So when people come over here, I think he's able to tune into that pretty well, you know.
Yeah. Do you get that feeling at all, man?
Yeah, I do. I even get that when I'm at home.
Yeah. Are you,
You know what I mean?
so are you a legal citizen now, or you just got your visa?
I'm on a green card. I'm on a 10-year green card right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that still means you can go back to Ireland whenever you want, right?
Yeah, it means that I'm a legal permanent resident for 10 years. So the word permanent lasts for 10 years.
Okay. Fuck, you kind of came over at a weird time, man. Fuck. How long have you been legal here? Just like, I think when we did that show, it was pretty fresh, which was almost 2 years ago. I think is when we did that show in Seattle.
Yeah, I mean, we started the process in 2015, but that took about a year before I got here. And then when I got here, I was touring and traveling a lot and still dealing with a lot of the paperwork. But it took about a year and a half before I got my first official documents, you know.
Yeah.
So sometime in 2017, I was allowed to stay here for, I think it was a year or two. And then during that 2 years, you got to file for the 10-year one, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a long process. Expensive too, you know.
Yeah. What kind of hoops do they make you jump through as far as paperwork goes? What kind of shit do you have to prove?
Oh, it's endless. It really is endless. Even now, occasionally we'll get some form. I've been living here now technically 5 years. I still get forms now. Really? Double cost of $600, $700 just to go back into the system, you know.
Shit, man. That's insane.
Now the thing is, when you're a green card holder too, you're a permanent resident. Only citizens can vote. So you were going to say about a weird time about, I'm sure you're referencing the political environment and stuff. I can't be involved in that myself, you know.
Yeah. I was referencing that, just like, I mean, just in general, the coronavirus, it's really tense over here, anyways. I mean, politics definitely have a lot to contribute to that, and I'm sure you got a lot of opinions on that as well, which sucks because you're here, you're stuck in the fucking middle of it, but like you said, you got to kind of keep quiet about it. Um, so and you can't vote, right?
No, in fact, a lot of people were saying that I could, and I started doing a bit of research, and if you vote on a green card, you can actually be
Deported.
deported and have your green card taken from you.
Son of a bitch. Yeah, that sucks. Do you want to disclose kind of like how much money do you think you've spent so far just to become a citizen?
I couldn't. I wouldn't even be able to tell you.
Like,
I think from the initial process, I mean, it depends how you want to do it too. We did a lot of it DIY, but there are some sections of it where you need somebody to help. And then sky's the limit of how much you want to pay somebody to do it. So in those terms, there's no figure, but for us, I mean, several thousand.
several thousands? Like in the tens, you think?
No, we'd be below that, but not by much.
All right, well, it's probably a little less than I thought it would be, but shit, it sounds like by the time you're done, you'll probably be over that, though.
But we did a lot of it ourselves, DIY.
Yeah.
So, you can easily go over that if you start paying people
I
to do it
bet,
for
yeah.
you. Well, like I say, it's still ongoing. I mean, that's not the end of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like you're saying, they still send you stuff all the time, huh? Um, well, was it worth it, you think?
At the time, I would definitely had an appetite for experience and to experience as much as I could. So on that level, yes. And ultimately, it was to be with my partner. So yes, but it definitely took a lot.
Yeah.
And the saving factor was kind of the chaotic experiences of being on the road. I think without that, we would have been a bit miffed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
a bit like punch drunk. But because there was so much going on and so many things happening, it was just riding the wave.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if we had had any kind of normal life or regular jobs while that was all going on, we'd probably been a bit disturbed.
Yeah. Well, that's good. How you guys holding up through the pandemic?
Well, again, that's another weird one. I mean, obviously it's weird everywhere, but particularly here in Nashville, it's a place where most people work around people gathering socially. I mean, you could say that about a lot of places, but particularly Nashville.
Yeah.
And at the beginning, we were doing bits here and there, still traveling a little bit, some private things, especially in the spring and the summer, you could still be outside. But once the fall came and the winter, it was just a no-go.
Yeah.
And anything we had penciled in was just wiped out. And in the end, my wife works down in Roberts, Western World and Broadway, and the Nashville Palace. And I work the door now there a couple of days a week just to get the bills paid during the winter.
Mm-hmm. So are they doing shows down there then, or?
Well, shows, technically, yes, but it's like bars can open based on their bar sales. So essentially, if you had a bar with a food menu, that's been pushed to the front. So restaurant bars can technically open.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of those restaurant bars, they will have bands on, but they typically be like, country bands or cover bands. It's not necessarily events or shows or venues. It's more
Yeah.
like working bands in there.
Yeah. Add ambience to the place, kind of.
They can be fairly ruckus, but like some of them are pretty quiet. But I mean, some of them are pretty full on. But there's a lot of restrictions. There's no standing. You can't stand. You can't dance.
I think
You
Sarah
can't.
Gail Meach has got residency at Roberts, doesn't she?
Yeah, she's there. I think at the moment Wednesdays and Saturdays. I think.
She's pretty rad. I like Sarah.
Yeah, she's cool. She's from your region, right?
Yeah, she's from Washington, I think, is where she's originally from. She came out and played a show I used to do out here, and yeah, she came and saw some family while she was out here. She's a really really nice gal.
Yeah, she is, and she's got her own show going there, and she has it sorted. She
Yeah,
knows how to do it.
for sure.
Well, I mean, horse shows are pretty lively. There's no, I mean, I know you use the word ambient or whatever, but horse shows are pretty lively. You know, like
Yeah.
on a typical night there, you know, you're trying to fit as many people in as you can. But at the moment, like I say, you can't leave your chair without a mask. But even then, the music's pretty loud. You know.
What kind of crowd limit? Because I'm in Oregon. We're strict as hell up here right now. We're locked down. We can't do shit.
Well, I got to backtrack a little bit here because you're saying, like, you know, we got the pandemic and the environment. I mean, last year for us in March pretty much started with the tornadoes. I mean, they were pretty bad, you know. And straight after the tornadoes, we had the pandemic. And then after the pandemic, we had the lockdown. Then we had the civil unrest. There was kind of protests and riots. And then there was a bombing on Christmas Day on 2nd Avenue.
I forgot about that.
There's been a lot of stuff.
How close to that were you? Did you feel that or anything or hear it?
No, I was working the door in Roberts the day before, but they designed the bomb to go off at a time when nobody was around. They did that on purpose, you know. So, I mean, there are people who are in that area, but it was very early on I think it was a Sunday. So
yeah, it was a Christmas morning, wasn't it?
Yeah, if there was a time of week where there's going to be the least people around, that was it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But there are some residents there, and they played some announcement before the bomb telling people to evacuate and stuff, so that gave people a bit of warning, you know. But that was on 2nd Avenue. Roberts is on 4th. So well, Roberts is in between 4th and 5th.
Not too far away, though, huh?
No, it's not. And when I visited Nashville in 2014, the first place I played was busking on the edge of that road down there.
It's crazy, man. Crazy times.
Yeah.
But so how many people are they letting into music venues right now? That's kind of what I was asking.
It fluctuates. The rules keep changing. They're actually changing again next week. The strictest enforcement they have is the curfew, which is at 11 p.m. currently. Okay. But typically, you know, half capacity, or if you're a large venue, then numbers apply. If you're a small venue, then it's the percentage. You know what I mean?
I got you. That makes sense.
So I couldn't tell you what the numbers is, but I know ours is about 50%. Yeah.
Have you got the vaccine yet, or are you planning on getting the vaccine?
I would get it. I don't think it's that available in Tennessee yet, but I would get it. Yeah, sure.
It's probably available, but usually it's for first responders or whatever, the essential workers. But they say that sometimes if you call like places that are giving them out, you can get on a list, because once they open them, they have to give it out within a certain amount of hours. So if they don't have enough essential workers to take it, they'll hand it out to anybody who really wants it. So just keep that in mind. You might, if you find out some places that are giving them out, just give them a call and see, they might work with you.
Yeah, we've received a few messages through our employers recently of some places where we might be able to get it. So we're going to look into that. But I've also seen recently that, you know, they're saying if you've already had the virus and you get the vaccine, that you could still possibly be contagious. And most of the restrictions are in place to stop it from being contagious. So I don't really see that ending anytime soon. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's kind of how I see it too, man. And there's so many people that don't want to take it, you know. Ironically, usually it's the same people that don't want to wear a fucking mask that don't want to take the vaccine. And I kind of get it, you know. If you don't understand how it works, I kind of get it, you know. I guess like it's kind of a scary thing. A lot of people are just wondering how they came up with it so quick, you know. I think.
Well, that's my only reservation with it. I mean, other than the fact that I haven't taken any vaccines in my life other than when I was a kid, you know.
Yeah.
It's quickly it came about, but you know, I don't have a clue what I'm talking about there either. So
yeah, me either, really. I mean, I've taken a couple they make me at work, but up until I got this job, I didn't take any at all. Took a tetanus shot and some hepatitis shots, I think, just to be safe. Yeah, but other than that, I haven't fucking taken any kind of thing until I started working. In the area I work at, I work in mental health, so they require me to. But it's a tough one, man. I'll tell you. I'm not even gonna lie. I got it, and for a while, I kind of wanted to like not tell people this stuff, just because so many people are like, "Oh, don't take it," don't take it. But yeah, it wiped me out for a couple days, and I've only got the first round of it. But I think what a lot of people are missing here is that the last time we've had to really, I mean, there's a formula to making vaccines now, and it's pretty much the same. They have a pretty good concept of how to make it, so it's just waiting for enough antibodies to come in through people's blood to make enough vaccines that we're waiting for, really. But yeah, I get why people are a little freaked out about it, and I'm sure that they'll probably get better with time,
Well, you brought up an interesting point there. I mean, other than, the symptoms and the issues of dealing with it in your life, you said that you were hesitant to let people know that you even had it. I mean, that's a huge part of it, isn't it? The psychological, like, almost like guilt or something,
Yeah.
or judgment or whatever the word is.
Yeah, that's a lot of it too, that, and I just like, it wasn't so much that I didn't want people to know I had it. I just didn't want people to know that it hit me hard,
Oh, yeah.
because I just didn't want to hear "I told you so" or anything like that, or like have anybody have a reason to not get it just because it kind of made me a little weak and fatigued for a couple days,
And it depends on your job too, I guess. There's a knock-on responsibility thing. It's like if you tell everybody you have it, then the business kind of feels pressure, and it's like a lot of weird dynamics like that.
Yeah. Well, we'll probably move on a little bit.
Let's stay on the virus.
I want to move on to better things, though, man. You look great, dude. You look so much healthier than the last time I saw you. I bet. I'm sure you can't say the same about me, but
You're looking good.
But you lost a lot of weight, man. Your face is so much skinnier, and you look healthy. You quit drinking and stuff, didn't you?
Yeah, the weight is fluctuating. I'm at home we have Christmas. We eat everything at Christmas, and we get lazy, But you guys have Thanksgiving and Christmas. That's like a double hit for me, Since then, I haven't really come back out of it, but I'm going to address it again. But yeah, I'm still overall down. I stopped drinking April the 7th. Will be 2 years ago this April. I stopped smoking at the same time too,
Cigarettes?
Everything, yeah.
Yeah.
Everything and anything.
Yeah, right on. Well, you weren't really a big weed guy anyways. You were up here and you said it kind of made you paranoid, I think, when we were talking about it.
Yeah, definitely the thoughts definitely got darker over the years,
Yeah.
But when we were kids in Ireland, whatever, if we were smoking, like we mostly smoked hash.
Oh,
and
fuck.
There wouldn't be a lot of it, so we'd have to mix it with tobacco. So a lot of us got like tobacco addictions from getting stoned,
Yeah, I guess that makes sense, man. Why is hash so much more? Why is there more hash over there than weed?
Well, these days it wouldn't be the case, but back then it was. I'm not sure really. I mean, I don't remember anybody having weed and stuff. And when they did, I mean, it looked like dry grass. It wasn't like buds and things.
Yeah.
But a lot of the Spanish students and European students would come over and learn English during the summer in our schools when we were on break from school. And a lot of those guys would bring hash and stuff,
Probably easier to smuggle in, huh?
Maybe.
No shit. Not if I was gonna say. So, are you like working out, or are you just dieting?
I was being active more than working out. I mean, Kristen hikes a lot. Kristen's my wife. She's a bit of a hiker, and I go on hikes with her and walks. But I was doing a little bit of fitness stuff. I mean, not much. It was more food related,
Yeah.
was more just, you know, I downloaded one of those, what do you call them, carb apps, whatever.
Yeah.
And I kind of, with Kristen's help, I kind of watched what foods were ridiculously high and what foods weren't, and kind of trained myself into watching the numbers a little bit. And
Yeah.
the key for me was weighing myself every morning. You know, it's like the fact that you're doing that keeps you psychologically in that area. And if it goes up a bit, you know, you're doing the wrong thing. If it goes down a bit, you know, you're doing the right thing, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I was doing pretty good for a minute until this pandemic hit. And then I kind of let myself fall apart again. But that was the key for me. I dropped about 50 pounds in 3 months. For me, with as big as I am, you couldn't really tell. But but yeah, that was the key to me doing it, is just cutting down carbs. And I didn't go crazy, like, you know, I didn't go keto on it, you know, because that's not real good for you either. But I did cut down a lot of my a lot of carbohydrate intakes. But
You know, I mean, it boils down to the same thing. Everyone's like, how do you lose weight? It's like, don't eat so much, you know? I mean, that's kind of it. And unless you got some other thing going on in your system genetically or whatever, or an illness or whatever it is. But mostly it's just don't eat so much.
yeah, I was hitting the gym pretty good too, though, for a minute. I need to, though. The diet isn't just gonna cut it for me. You know, I gotta get like more active, and with the job I do, it's real hard to be active at work. So, going to the gym is my best option. You know.
But people said that when I quit drinking that I'd lose weight. I didn't lose any weight.
I didn't either, man. I quit drinking, and I was a heavy drinker. And when I quit drinking, I ballooned the fuck up. I got so fat, dude, when I quit drinking. Everybody's like, "Oh, you'll lose weight." Fuck no. And I quit smoke. But part of it might have been because I quit smoking at the same time, and it sounds like you did too. So
Yeah.
maybe that was some of it. Is I replaced all my addictions with eating.
Well, I would normally smoke when I was drunk. I mean, that was it. But that's another thing too. You're talking about Dave King and Flogging Molly. Well, I mean, once you go on into that area, the whole Celtic punk or the Irish thing, I mean, not drinking is pretty difficult, you know.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people who can do it, but they have it sussed. I don't have it sussed because most of my life has been around bars and pubs and drinking, and all my friends, that's how I met them, you know. And then you go and do that stuff, and you're you know, you start feeling kind of out of place a little bit, you know.
Yeah, man, that was me too, man. I thought I could be the cool guy that drove everybody home, you know, like the cool sober friend. And fuck, I realized really quick it's not that easy, man. You get in there and you realize just how fucking stupid everybody's acting, and just feel out of place, and you don't want to be there, you know. And I think some of my stuff with me gaining weight from quitting drinking is I think I was pretty active when I was drinking. Like, we were always on some kind of adventure, walking around, you know. So when I stopped drinking, I started just staying home on the weekends, you know, unless there was a show or something to go to. But yeah, I became a little less active, I think, when I quit drinking. So
Yeah, there's definitely an element of that. And, you know, you're not burning the candle at both ends like you will when you drink too, you know.
yeah. So I had a question for you, like, how an old coworker of mine said he went over to Ireland and was talking about the bars over there and like how crazy they get. He was saying there's like pubs he was at where they were doing like cocaine like right off the bar. Is that like shit really happen, or?
I mean, I don't think it's native to Ireland.
That's I didn't think so. I thought it was kind of full of shit because like I mean you guys got crazy, but I was kind of like I don't see people. I thought the drug laws were kind of strict though. How are the drug laws over there compared to here?
It's all changed so much, but I mean, they're pretty strict, you know. I mean, you can't just go around even smoking a joint, whatever, you know, or you can't. There are things like heroin that are a big problem in Ireland, you know.
Yeah.
But again, it's not like it's hard. It's hard because heroin is kind of ingrained in society in a bad way, and it's almost socially acceptable to even kind of do it in particular circles, but it's totally against the law, like 100%. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They
Yeah, that's
don't.
kinda what I thought, man. But yeah, my boss was like, "Oh, it's so crazy. People were just doing coke off the bar." I was kind of like, "Fucking sounds like Mexico or something, not fucking Ireland to me." You know?
Well, he had a particular experience, which I'm sure is true, but he probably could have had that anywhere. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, I get you're probably right. Yeah, he probably just went to. If you go to any skeezy bar in America, you might get that same thing too. I guess you know.
Well, it's like you have a particular experience, and just because you're where you are, it doesn't really define the location. You know?
Yeah, yeah. I've never even left America, but Ireland's pretty high on my list. I'd really like to. It's pretty high on my list of places I'd like to go. I always wanted to go over there just because like it just looks so pretty, man.
Yeah. I mean, over the years, I like it more and more every time I go back. I try to travel around it more than I used to too. If Kristen comes over with me, we tend to like get a car, and you can go coast to coast 3 or 4 hours, so you can see a
Yeah.
lot of it.
That's what
It
everybody
doesn't
says,
mean
man. They say it's a lot. Countries over in Europe are like weird because you can just be in another country in like a half hour. Or, like you can take little planes everywhere and stuff, trains too.
you can do it really cheaply. Yeah, I mean, I love all that because I kind of miss that because when I was back there, I could get on a bus and go on tour or coach, or I could get on a coach in Dublin and go overnight on the boat to London. Whereas over here it's also car based. I mean, you can get airplanes too, but I feel like it's a different thing.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
the
it is,
driving,
man. And it sounds like it's way fuck. It sounds like it's way cheaper over there. Like you were just saying, like plane tickets are insane. Well, not so much now, but I mean, usually they're really expensive, man.
well, somebody asked me recently what's the difference between touring in Europe and touring in America, and without thinking, I just said I enjoy the adventure more in the US, but I feel like I probably get treated better in Europe. Now that's not across the board, but just on the whole.
Yeah, that's kind
As
of
in,
what everybody kind of. That's kind of the general feeling from most musicians I know that have done both circuits.
yeah, and I don't mean the people going to the gigs or whatever, how you treat it in that way. It just lodgings and food. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you're cared for.
Yeah, I've heard both though. I've heard that the crowds are better over there. The people are tend to be a little more appreciative of live music over in that area.
Yeah, they can be. That's yeah. Now that you said it, I think that can be largely true.
Yeah. I don't know, the one positive thing I think I've been saying this on almost every interview that I've done as of late, but I think one of the most positive things that might come from this virus is that I think people are going to want to go back out to live shows again, man. I think people being starved from people are going to make them want to go back out and see live music and go to events and stuff. I think they've had enough of the live streams and they're ready to put their phones down and actually be present in the moment again, I think.
Yeah, and I'd also agree that they're going to want the real thing, the real stuff. They're not going to want to be like, I don't know. They're going to want a real connection with real people. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't just mean that from person to person. I mean within the music.
Yeah.
You don't want a lot of bullshit being fed to you. I think
Mhm.
people's bullshit radar is going to be a lot stronger than what it was.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I really I'm looking forward to this being over because I think a lot of good things are gonna happen once it's done. Fingers crossed.
I had a couple of gigs there before everything got really wild for the second time, and I definitely felt that. I felt new about it.
Hmm.
And the most of what people talked about was how fresh it felt.
Yeah, I played one in October. I got a chance to play one when things eased up a bit, and it felt really good. There's like actually people there, and everybody was really enjoying themselves and just happy to be in the presence of each other, you know. And the cool thing, there was both Democrats and Republicans there, both real strong opinions on both sides, and everybody was getting along just fine. You know, I think the internet and social media really is a lot to blame for the pace that's been set in society right now with all the tension. You know.
Yeah, we've been fed so much information from all angles, you know.
Yeah, and who knows? Like, it's hard to figure out what's bullshit and what's real on both sides, really, because they both really like to push their own agenda. You know.
Absolutely. Yeah, we've got a lot to constantly navigate.
Are politics over in Ireland a lot like that too? Is you feel like that?
The difference in republicanism, that's usually referred to being independent from the British.
Yeah. Do you feel like there's less? Do you feel like it's any more honest over there than it is here? I guess.
And well, some people say that the Irish treat their own worse than anyone else has ever treated us. So in some regards, no. I mean, the politicians are just as fucking over the people as much as anyone else did, you know.
Yeah, I think it's just any country, really. I don't think America's especially any worse or better than it. I really think every country's just got their pot of people that run shit, and it doesn't really matter, you know?
Yeah. I don't keep up with Irish politics too much these days because it's kind of been the same for quite some time now, you know. It's like people feeling like Ireland is being sold off for business, international business interests, you know.
Oh.
That's the general flavor.
Yeah.
Like anytime you come across anything of value of the government, like just sell it for immediate profit, you know.
Really? Damn. Yeah, that's too bad, man, because it seems like a really cool country, man.
It is. And it's especially good to visit, you know. I mean, it's a small place if you're a musician and you want to tour. I mean, within a week, you'd be going around in circles, you know.
Yeah.
But as a visitor, you can't go wrong. I mean, the coast in particular, but I mean, inland has a lot of old, you know, ancient structures and remnants of the past, but the coast is where it's at for me, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's what you're saying. You said you really love the coast out there, man. I can imagine. It seems like the coasts over that area are way different than any of the coasts here. I mean, maybe Oregon can compare in Washington, but I doubt it even.
Yeah, I mean, there's on the west side, I find of, say, in the west of the US or the west of Ireland,
Mm-hmm.
with the erosion of the tides, you tend to get like steep cliffs and things, you know.
Yeah.
Whereas on the east, it tends to be more of a gradual slope down to the sea.
Yeah.
But in Ireland, you got a small island that's being battered by a gigantic ocean, you know, which is a bit different than Washington down to, I don't know, Mexico to quite a long stretch, you know.
Yeah.
So in Ireland, it's pretty windy and wet a lot.
Mm. Yeah, I can imagine. What? So, do you guys get snow over there?
I can remember when I was a kid getting a decent amount of snow a few times, but now it's more frequent. The climate has definitely changed, you know.
Really?
Yeah, for sure.
What do you? How hot does it get over there in the summertime?
Well, we use old currency, so we don't have the same numbers. So
Yeah,
I won't really be able to translate that very well.
Okay.
The 20s Celsius is pretty hot for Ireland.
Really? So that's
Yeah.
fuck. What is that? Like
I'm not
80
even sure.
here? Let me look it up.
I'm not even sure. But that's pretty hot for Ireland.
All right, I'm gonna look it up and see what it is here, so everybody knows. I think it's around 80, but I'm not sure. It's probably humid as shit, huh?
No, it's not actually. It's really humid here in Tennessee, and one of the things I find difficult is being landlocked. You know, you can just sense it.
Yeah. Oh, it's only 68 degrees. That's not really that hot, man. I figured it'd get up in like the 80s at least, but
I mean, I'd have to look at the numbers and see how they translate, but my recollection is 20s in Ireland is pretty hot.
wow. Okay. Yeah, that seems. Well, this is probably pretty. This is probably somewhat accurate. I'm gonna bet. So, wow, that's cool though. I guess I don't know if I could hack it over there for too long though, man. I love my summers here, but like you said, you're in a bad spot though, especially if you're used to a climate that's like 68 degrees at the hottest, and you move to Tennessee. Yeah, you're right. It's fucking humid there. It's one of the most humid places in America, next to maybe Louisiana and Florida, which are hell, pretty much.
My brain literally melts. It melts. Like I can't hold a thought in my head when it gets to the temperature it can get here.
Oh man, I
My
bet.
brain just doesn't function.
Yeah, I bet. Um,
Kristen will go out, start the car, put on the air conditioning, and I'll come out to him.
that's funny. That's what we do like in the winter here is we turn our cars on to get them warm and then wait for it. But yeah, that's funny.
I
Yeah,
was
man.
already putting on a ton of weight before. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. I
It's,
was already putting on a ton of weight before I got here, and someone said when you get to Tennessee, you're gonna sweat it off. But all I did was sit beside the air conditioning.
yeah. That's funny. Yeah, I bet, man. I mean, it's probably brutal, man. It probably makes you downright sick if you're not used to it.
The Zoom is getting a bit glitchy on my end. Is it okay now? I think it's fine now.
Yeah, mine's good still. It's probably me then, um, but yeah, yeah, probably downright make you sick sometimes if you're not used to it.
For sure, but it's very green here. Everybody talks about how green Ireland is. Tennessee is fucking greener. You know, it's a different shade of green, but
Yeah,
it's even more green.
yeah, it's green down there. It is all year round too. That's for sure, man.
And back in past times, a lot of the Irish and Scots Irish would have come to these regions originally. You know.
Yeah. Um. So we kind of already established you're not really doing much as far as working on a new album or anything. Um. You writing any new songs at all?
I'm always writing bits. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I haven't felt the need to complete anything like I have done in recent times. I just don't have that compulsion to feel like I gotta finish anything.
Yeah. It's called being married, dude. That's what settled me down. I used to write songs constantly, man. I got married and settled down a bit, and that's what did it to me, man. So
There are definitely an element. There's many elements I feel in the last few years that have amounted to this. I can't put it on the pandemic, but the pandemic has sped up whatever I was already going through and added some more things to deal with.
yeah, I think I think once you become a little content, it's a little harder to write songs too. Might be different in your case because you guys seem like your wife and you like to have adventures and stuff. We're kind of over here kind of stuck doing the work and school for the kids stuff, so our lives slowed down quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I can hear that in people's songs sometimes, if they're, like you say, settled down, they got kids, they got married, their songs start to be about that stuff. And I don't really ever see myself writing songs about that stuff.
Yeah. Did you record your last album with Andy Gibson?
Sorry, you're just a small bit glitchy there. Say that again?
Did you record the last album with Andy Gibson?
Yeah, I did. There's a place around the corner from me here called the American Legion Post 82. And every Tuesday they have a honky tonk, and it's where all the locals go. So it's a mixture of veterans, very trendy people, and locals, and then a few visitors. And it got to one point where it was extremely popular. We used to go around there every Tuesday, and Andy is in the house band there with some of my friends. He's on the steel. And I was making an album here locally across the road. And I was just like, do you want to play on a track? I'd already pretty much made the track, and I felt like I might change it up. So I fired it over to him. He said he'd love to, and he put down some steel on it.
Cool. He records good too, man. You probably know that. He's a good producer too.
Yeah, I don't know how much of that he's doing right now. I think he's keeping it a little bit homely at the moment. I think he's just working with friends and people who are friends of friends. I don't think he's reaching out as much as he has done.
Yeah, I kind of noticed that there hasn't been as many Andy Gibson's albums out as of late, but for a while he did a lot of great shit. He did some stuff with a 357 string band, and he worked with my buddy Bob Wayne a lot too. Actually, my nickname Dog Bite came from Andy Gibson's house. Andy Gibson's dog bit me, so on my first tour. So Rocky, I don't know if you met Rocky or not, but Rocky bit me. That's how I got my nickname. That stuck forever. But yeah, he's done
Andy's
great albums.
he's a legend. I actually seen him there about 2 weeks ago. He was on fire. It was one of the best I've seen him play. Actually,
Yeah,
he had a bit
yeah.
of a reshuffle. Sorry.
No, I'm sorry. Yeah, watching him with Hank 3 back in the day was amazing. So fucking good.
Well, my understanding of it is ever since Hank Tree doesn't play or doesn't play as much, whatever it is, that Andy has kind of gradually downsized from then.
Yeah, yeah, I can imagine probably because yeah, it's just how life works sometimes.
I'm not sure what his official status is, but that's just the vibe I've been getting.
Yeah, I heard something about like that too. But I'm glad that I was lucky enough to see him play with Hank 3 though. You know.
Have you ever been over to Post 82?
I haven't. I don't recall that being a thing when I was touring a lot. Where the fuck did we play when we were going through there? It wasn't right downtown. To be honest, I've been to Nashville 3 times. I've never been right downtown. We always end up in like another area. Um, is the Exit Inn a place there?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's where we used to play all the time. Is the Exit Inn?
Yeah, that's a pretty historical place too. It's got a lot of strong musical history of the punk scene and stuff.
Yeah, that's what I hear. That yeah, it's like historical on another level for Nashville than the rest of the stuff downtown.
I've only played there once. I was on my birthday with Scott H. Byram. I think that was like 2016 maybe.
Yeah, yeah, I
It
love
was,
Scott Byram, man. He's a good one too.
yeah.
Who are some of your favorite artists you played with? You got a pretty good list of artists like you played with. I know that well on that same album, one of the members of the Pogues played on that album.
Yeah,
So
well, what happened with that? That was all linked to Flogging Molly too. I mean, obviously, I lived in London. I lived in Ireland. Or I'm from Ireland, and they've always been in the peripheral. But when I moved over here and I met Flogging Molly, the first night of the tour, we were out in LA, and after playing on the Flogging Molly cruise, a guy approached me to be my manager for a while, and he arranged. He was also managing. Sorry, I'm trying to remember some details here, but he was also about to manage James Fernie's new band, and James Fernie was the accordion player of the Pogues. So he told James that I was on my way to LA to start the tour with Flogging Molly, and James came out to meet us for the night. So we were in the pub having some beers, and we've been friends since. And I hit him up about a year later, maybe. I was like, "Do you want to play in the album?" And he was like, "He'd love to." And same thing with Andy.
cool, man. What a yeah
Yeah,
that
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 was
album
special
is
for me
really
to have
good
him.
too.
It was special for me to have James. Like Jesus, I can remember being a kid dancing around the kitchen to the Pogues with my father. You know what I mean? Like it's important to me. Like, and then he was on the one song he's on a couple of songs, but one of the songs is the only song I really reference home. So that was kind of to tie James in with that song was pretty special for me as well.
I can imagine, man. That album is fucking really good too. Yeah, I'll tell you that guy. He was right, man. I really feel like you're one of my favorite singer songwriters that's alive. You know, I really am looking forward to seeing what else you come up with because the stuff that you have right now is really good.
I appreciate you saying that. It's nice to hear it. Definitely been a tough few years. So if someone
Um,
says something like that, it helps.
I feel like, man, your live performance too is it's a different beast than your albums, but it's really powerful, man. Um,
Well, I
so
see the albums as showcasing the songs. For me, it's about the songs, you know.
yeah,
Whereas when you're alive, it's more about like, I don't know, almost a little bit more aggressive or something, you know.
yeah, for
Just
sure,
a
you
little
can
bit
definitely
more
feel
like,
that because you can
all
feel,
right, it's here, you know.
yeah, you can feel it, man. So anybody who's listening, I guess if you get a chance to see Dylan Walshe, go do it, man, because always felt terrible because there was only like fucking 10 people at that show in Seattle or in Tacoma that I booked for you, man, and uh, I wish if there would have been more there to be able to experience that fucking great
I
set you
mean,
played.
that was a good bill too. That was an all day event, right?
Yeah, there was 2 days. Um,
2 days. Yeah.
yeah, 2 days, and yeah, there's a lot of good artists there, man. But fuck, that was rad, man. Um,
Yeah, it's like that's what with things have changed now with the streaming and the online world. I mean, I promote myself too much, just like most other people do in my position. But I'm actually not that much of an online person when it comes to like giving all of me. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So when it comes to streaming and like you're saying, playing live is a different beast. I mean, being brash and being loud is part of what I do, and that's not going to happen through a computer screen and a USB cable. You know what I mean?
yeah, a hundred
So I
percent,
struggle with that. You know?
100%, man. Um, yeah, it's cool, man. You go both ways though. Your albums are great, and your live set's a little different, but it's great in its own sense, man. So, um, like I said, I'm really looking forward. Hopefully, when this shit lifts up, we can get you back out here and do something a little better for you.
Man, what you did was spot on for me, but I'll take you up on that for sure. We really like it up there too. I mean, the climate's good for me.
Yeah, especially in spring. It gets humid as shit up here too, though, during the summer. So, yeah,
Kristen's been talking about there a lot. We were kind of toiling with the idea of maybe going to lease somewhere for a year
up here.
just to feel things out. I mean, in an ideal world, we could hang on to the house we have and try somewhere for a year. I mean, that might never happen, but that's just an idea we're at. And we've been talking about the West Coast, and we wouldn't want to go anywhere too hot. So Kristen was talking about Washington quite a bit, and then the other side we were talking about was Maine. So there were the two main places.
Yeah, right on. Yeah, Maine's
She
kind of
likes
far
that.
from anything you want to do music, though, man. It's kind of no.
That's the other side of it.
Yeah, I mean Washington and Oregon kind of suck too as far as that, but I think there's a little more to offer up this way than there is out that way. Um, I've been pretty much to I've been to most states in America, but I still haven't made it to Maine because the only reason I have to go up there is for like my own personal wanting to see it. You know, it looks beautiful up there, but I
It
don't
is.
have
It's
any other
cool.
reason to go.
I've been up there a few times. It's definitely worth visiting. There's a
Yeah.
lot of marine life too. You know, you can do all kinds of things on the coast.
Hmm. Yeah, that actually might be more like, well, maybe not. I don't know.
You've also got the fact that it's kind of, I don't know if it's technically considered, but it's kind of New England territory.
Yeah,
So you have a lot of those like old English and
historical.
Irish cultures up there.
Yeah. Um.
A lot of people are like, "Oh, you moved to America, it must be so much easier." It's like when on the road, I mean, definitely helps, but not in Tennessee.
Yeah.
It's like country bands and not
Yeah.
folk is actually having a bit of a revival, but still very American stuff, you know.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. You're probably. I can imagine you probably have a. Yeah, you probably have a bit of a time trying to fit in anywhere. I'm sure you fit in
Yeah,
well with
and it's
the
kind of
Muddy
always
Roots
been the
crowd,
case.
but
Yeah, it's always been the case for me. Even when I fit in, I'm still thinking I don't quite fit in, you know. I still got to, I don't change what I do, but I got to tailor the songs that I play
hmm
100%. You know, I'm not going to get on front of a Celtic punk band or a heavy metal band and sing three ballads. It's not going to happen, you know. But if I
yeah,
was on my own terms in a small venue where people were sitting down, that's what I would go straight to.
yeah,
So I don't change, but you got to tailor.
yeah. I understand that. Well, I'm trying to think of anything else. You got anything else you want to add?
Um, I guess you were talking a little bit about touring with Flogging Molly and stuff. I mean, for me, the best part of being over here is the opportunities I got as a live musician. You know, like I got in and done things over here that I would have never have been involved in at home.
Yeah,
That's the beauty of the adventure over here.
that's kind of cool
And
too
like
because
I
it's
was
full of
touring with,
people that are from your country too. A lot of them were, you know.
yeah, well, like, we had enough in common to make it work, but we were different enough to make it feel different too. And it kind of became an obsession with me then to see where I could take the music into what environments and how I could challenge myself. And it kind of took over, you know, it became a bit of an unhealthy obsession, really. And
Yeah.
it kind of concluded with being on a heavy metal tour in Europe.
Oh, really?
And yeah, that was in 2019. I was on the heavy metal tour with Europe, which was superb. I have no complaints. But afterwards, I was kind of like, I gotta just, you know, give the songs a bit more attention and go with that for a while.
Yeah. Who was the band you were on tour with?
They're a Swedish band called Avatar.
Oh,
They're doing quite well. Well, they were doing quite well. I'm sure they are because they embrace the digital world. They're very like modern.
yeah. Um,
But that was pretty crazy.
who else besides Flogging Molly and the typical bigger name people are some of your favorites to play with?
I haven't played with that many, but the Celtic punk thing, when I got over here, I wasn't familiar with it at all. And I ended up on bills with several of them, Flatfoot 56, the Mahones, which are technically from Canada, Flogging Molly. Who else? I can't even remember right now. Some of the guys from the Pogues and their side projects. My first gig in Nashville was with Spider of the Pogues in the Nashville Palace. But I was never really clued in with the Celtic punk thing, and it took me a while to kind of understand it
Yeah.
because the Pogues were the be all and end all for me, and they're an acoustic outfit,
Yeah.
and they were punk without trying to be punk. Shane MacGowan is a really rough dude trying to sing the best he can, whereas I found Celtic punk was kind of like guys who were in good condition trying to sing as rough as they can, which is a kind of the other end of the scale, you know.
Yeah.
But then I started to associate the vibe and the personal experiences with the gigs, and then I got it a lot more. It was a good time, you know.
Yeah, I understand. But I mean, besides that, like, what are some just like regular American bands or other bands? I mean, I know you played with a lot of people. Who are some of your favorites?
Uh, I like. I think when I first got here, when people were still alive, I liked the real old roots dudes, you know, like Ralph Stanley or Elsie Ulmer and people like that. They were like people I had given up on the idea of ever crossing paths with them, and then they were there, and I ran with that for a while. And me and Kristen jumped in the RV and went around America trying to find as many places that were still open where those guys played. You know, Ralph Stanley, Elsie Ulmer, Jimmy Duck Holmes, people like that. You know.
That's rad, man. That's cool. Um, so did you grow up listening to them, or is that something that you evolved into as you got older?
I would say late teens. I was very much on the early records, 1920s, 30s buzz, but I would have to go abroad to get the records. I didn't find them much in Ireland, you know. And if any of my friends listened to that stuff, they never made me aware of it. So it was more of a personal journey for me. And I
Cool.
think what led me to that was, you know, putting on my parents' vinyl and maybe reading who the original artist was of the song or whatever, you know, like a Bob Dylan record and say like Blind Willie McTell and start going back through, find out who these people are. And that
Yeah.
sent me down that journey. And so by the time I got over here, I was already like early 30s. And I was just like, these people are all gone, you know. Within like a year or two, I was seeing a lot of them and being on festival bills and stuff with them. So me and Kristen just, you know, hijacked them.
That's cool though, man. Because
Ramblin' Jack Elliott. There's another one.
What was that?
Ramblin' Jack Elliott. He was a favorite too.
Yeah, I thought he was still alive though. Is he still alive?
Yeah, he is. Yeah,
He's
I
good. I
think
watched
he's
that
hiding
documentary
away.
on him, man. He's killer. Led a really interesting life too.
But I'm drawing blanks here on like contemporary artists. I mean, there's a new wave, well, relatively new wave of American folk artists coming through who I quite like.
Yeah, I've seen you play with Possessed by Paul James a little bit.
Yeah, Conrad's been a friend for a few years, maybe 2013, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I first met Conrad. So Slowbo Films were doing a documentary for Muddy Roots in Belgium. And I had been talking to Slowboat Records, and they were the ones who kind of encouraged me to go over to Belgium to check this festival out. So when I got there, Conrad was there, Possessed with Paul James, and all these other people. And that's where I met them. I met them first in Belgium. And when I was there, one of the bands from Brazil couldn't make it because their visa didn't clear. So I was playing songs in the campsite for Slowbo Films who were doing the documentary. And the stage manager, who I also knew at the time, came over and asked me, did I want to replace them on stage? So I replaced them on stage, and then I got invited over here. That's how it all got going.
Huh.
So it was like I put myself in the mix and purposely, accidentally got involved.
Well, there you have it, man. I'm glad you did, because I think that's how I got to learn who you are, is because I watch a lot of that stuff, man. So,
yeah, well, that was 2013, I think, and then Muddy Roots invited me over here in 2014 to go to Focal Lines and to do a bit of recording, and that's when I met my now wife. So it was like a continuous kind of journey like that.
Cool, man. That sounds good. Well, I don't know, man. Maybe we'll wrap it right there. That seems like a good place to bring her full circle, man. Is there anything else you want to add?
Now, when this goes online, is it going to be subtitled?
Huh?
When this goes online, is it going to be subtitled?
I think you did pretty good, man. Actually, when I first met you, you spoke really well, but there was a few times where I couldn't understand like what you were saying. But this time, I don't recall that ever happening. I think I've confused you more than you've confused me this time, actually.
There was a couple of glitches, so hopefully we weren't clashing when we were talking too much either.
Yeah. I tend to confuse people who speak good English anyways, so yeah. I don't think we'll need them. I think you did really well.
Well, it's good to see you, man, and thanks for having us involved. And I do look forward to getting over to that side of the world again.
Absolutely,
maybe Chris.
Yeah, if you get over here, let me know, and then if you ever want to come on to talk about new music or anything else, just let me know, man.
Will do, man. Appreciate it.
It was good seeing you, Dylan. Thanks for coming on, buddy.
Take it easy, bud.
Yeah, you too.
Gets rough. Everyone has to suffer. Nobody gets more off than her. Sometimes it pays to wait, but risk a sealed fate. Do something good, baby. taken astray. The blind shouldn't lead the blind, is all that you can say. Blind, and your sight, it needs to be clear. Whether it's blind love, short-sighted fear, do something good, babe. Taken astray. The blind shouldn't lead the blind, is all that you can say.
Ruckus and the Records proudly brings to you the Dogwater Radio Show, starring Dogbite Harris. Also featuring Jody Mattern as the lovable but perverse Blackwater Derb.